Hey guys, so BatchLeads 3.0 is finally out, and you might be saying to yourself, okay, great, I have all these new tools, but how do I use them in real life? Well, today I'm here with Nathan Payne from Investor Thrive, who's going to break down the best way to use these features to get more leads, more business, and close more deals. So let's kick off with lead scoring. Now, lead scoring is sort of like a hidden gem because it's kind of like list stacking on steroids.
Right.
Tell me about how you would use lead scoring for your business.
Yeah, so lead scoring seems extremely helpful because, I mean, you can't physically, like, you yourself can't just go and hit everybody on the list, right? So you have to target the highest scores or the most important people, the people that are most likely to sell, right? So that's how lead scoring helps me in my business and can help people. It's like, okay, let's score out what's going to be the most effective people to reach out to, and then reach out to them, like whether you call, text, mail, whatever you do. But lead scoring, that's what I would say.
What are some of the filters that you would use? I know here we've got, we're looking right here at like year built. Is there a specific year build that you typically go after? Property type, I'm guessing single family residential.
Right.
You can do multifamily if you want to. We've got cash purchase, pre-foreclosure
Pre-foreclosures,
status. Yeah, those kinds of things. What would be your like go-to?
That's a good question. So the way I work, I do what's called, I call it painless wholesaling because my last name is in Payne, but it's pretty much reverse wholesaling. So depending on the buyer that I'm looking for deals for, I would filter it for what they look for, right? So if I have someone that specifically buys in Salt Lake City single families that are, newer than 1950, then I would do that scoring for exactly what they want, and then I would be able to go to the part and batch where you can find that, and then I would find those leads and call them. So that's exactly how I would use it. I would just specifically go to what my buyers want in that area, and then that's how I'd proceed.
And we were talking earlier about, lead score. I can type in here. I want scores from 50 to 100, right?
Right.
So right here, I've got, this has all of my leads, and this is only the leads from 50 to 100. So if I select this button right here, I can go to actions and just skip trace them all immediately, and then I can push them to dialer. I can send it to an SMS campaign. I can push it to a direct mail campaign. Speaking of a dialer situation, let's talk click to dial.
Yeah.
I understand that you use click to dial.
Yeah, click to dial is sweet. And ever since that came out, I think that's been awesome because, before that, you'd have to type it into your phone or copy and paste it into Google Voice or whatever your dialer is. But now you can just click it and go, and that saves you so much time, because it's all about time in this business. You don't have all day to, be copying and pasting or, typing phone numbers in. You want to be quick, because speed is the key, right?
Somebody else could be dialing that number as you're thinking about dialing.
Right, yeah.
Right? Getting in touch with them in the first 5 seconds is going to be absolutely key. So it's really great. You're just going to want to go in here into your details. After you skip traced, obviously, you're just going to click this button right here and call. Obviously, this isn't a real number, but it's built into the system.
There you go.
So it's super, super easy to use. Let's talk about driving for dollars and virtual driving for dollars. What do you typically, what's your go-to strategy for that?
No, I love the drive for dollars aspect that you guys put in there because it's such an effective way to get deals and find motivated sellers, right? Because if you can physically see that their house is distressed, whether you're doing it virtually and you see the picture, or you go see that it's maybe some broken windows, tall grass, some sort of issue that's visible, that's a good indicator that that person might be motivated to sell their home. Not always, right? Some people might not just care about mowing the lawn, but it's a good indicator. So what I do in my business is with the reverse wholesaling, the painless wholesaling method, I ask my buyers, I say specifically, where do you want to buy? And they say, hey, I really like the neighborhood Indian Hills, for example. So I will, if I live close there, I can just get in my car and go drive it, or go on a walk with my wife and just mark stuff while I do it. Or if it's somewhere that's virtual, right? I'm not in Texas right now, for example, and I have a buyer that wants to buy in a specific area, I can virtually drive for dollars there. So I think the fact that you can do virtual or in person is incredibly helpful. And I've done several deals. I think when I first started, one of my biggest deals yet was $56,000 just from driving dollars, and it was so easy. Just marked the person, texted them, they said yeah, they want to sell, bam.
It could be so simple. It's like your next deal could be next door.
Yeah.
Another feature of driving for dollars and virtual driving for dollars is route tracking. So you don't have to drive the same route over and over and over again.
So
have you
helpful.
Experienced any of that?
Oh gosh, I can't remember where I've driven or any of that stuff. So the route tracking, oh my gosh, so helpful. And I used to do door-to-door sales, right? So we would sometimes go. This would have been super helpful for that. We had an app called Sales Rabbit, and we would mark specific areas and go knock those neighborhoods. But we would forget if we knock those neighborhoods, right? So it's almost the same thing with this. So like, we drive an area and we'd be like, oh shoot, did we already drive that? I don't want to drive it again. It took like an hour or two. And that's just extremely helpful to have that.
Well, and if you have agents, right, the basic plan for BatchLeads comes with 2 users, you and one other person. So if you hire another agent under you to drive for dollars, for instance, or even virtually drive for dollars, you can view their routes as it's happening, which is also kind of a nice thing for our wholesalers.
Oh gosh, yeah, super helpful.
Being able to just look at everything at a glance, see who did what, track the miles, track the property saved. It's a really, really cool feature.
I have something that's a funny story to tell you. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
So when I first started wholesaling a couple years ago, I would actually pay people to go and flyer houses, right? And there was this one guy who we paid to go flyer, and we paid him 6 cents a flyer, which is, it was not a lot, right? And we thought he could maybe do like 200 flyers in an hour, but he was really able to do like 80 to 100, so he's really not making any money. But he kept doing it because he's like, I love walking. Okay. So we had him wear a Garmin watch, right? And the Garmin watch would determine like where he was going. And he was going, we saw that like after a while, after he worked for us like 2 weeks, he was just walking in a straight line, and he wasn't actually going to the houses. So then we were able to determine like, hey, this guy's not even doing his route. He's not even doing, he's just throwing the flyers away and just walking. So anyway, having something like this would be really helpful, because then you can say, hey, this person's actually not even driving. You can't even manipulate the route, right? So you can say, hey, I hired this person, but they're literally not even going anywhere. So anyway, the funny story about that, how I tie that in, is just he didn't, we were able to catch that he wasn't doing the work. So instead of trusting him, right? Yeah.
Trust but verify. And to that point, right? If you have them doing driving for dollars live on their mobile phone, you can tell the difference between which are live and which are virtual. So if you have somebody doing something sketchy like that, maybe they're, oh yeah, I'll just virtually drive for dollars and then just pretend like I drove for dollars. No, you can tell this one is live, this one is virtual. Yeah. So you're able to keep track.
Yeah, because you definitely want to keep track of virtual, because if you're going to pay someone to do it virtually, you can pay someone in the Philippines, a VA, to do it for like $3 an hour. Very simple. But if you're going to pay someone to go drive for dollars, that's you're going to probably pay them a little bit more than $3 an hour. So or give them a higher commission. So you're definitely going to want to keep track of their their success, or if they're even doing it.
Now, you said that you were using driving for dollars in the mobile app. Let's switch over to talking about the mobile app. We've supercharged the mobile app. What's your favorite thing about the new mobile app?
I mean, to be honest, I just mark a house. I mean, I'm sure there's features that I'm not using, but my favorite thing is it's just super simple. You click on the home, and then you can save it, and and then that list goes in. When I go on my computer, I can see exactly what I have, and it's easy. Just skip trace and call them.
Yep, and we've added everything that you can find in BatchLeads is now available on the mobile app. So previously you could not do any lead searching. You couldn't, say, oh, I want to filter by these properties and these properties. So now it's so much easier to be able to find those properties. So what are some of the features on the new BatchLeads that you can find in the mobile app that you would use most often?
I mean, the main things that I like to use Batch for and for the mobile app is, driving for dollars is huge. I love that. And then I can look up property details. If I'm going to the seller's house, I kind of want to like refresh my mind. Instead of having my laptop on me, I can just go and see like some information, their history, the details that you guys provide on each of those leads. So that's super helpful. I can just pull it up on my phone.
You can skip trace. You can look up comps. There's nothing you can't do on the BatchLeads mobile app.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So Nate, you have your own courses, you have your own students. What are some of the best practices that you communicate to your students? What's like some of the feedback that you hear so you can coach them through on how to use BatchLeads?
You know what? I mean, a lot of them just need, if they're not new to like using software, they just need to go out and dive into it. So I make it a point to just show them, walk them through how to do it. And the way that I do wholesaling right now is I specifically target areas that my buyers want. Buyers that I'm really cool with, like instead of just like blasting an area and just hoping I can find a deal, I look specifically for, you know, for example, 3.2s in this specific part of town, right? Or 3.2s with 50% equity. So now with Batch, it's extremely easy with the border, the way you can just go through a border, the boundaries.
Oh yeah.
So the boundaries, it's so easy to just target exactly what they want, pull that list and hit them up, hit up those leads. And as soon as I find something, I know I have a buyer for it. So teaching that to the people I work with, you know, showing the community, I think that's been really helpful to show them like, hey, you don't have to just guess at this game. You can really target, and BatchLeads is the best way to target to get deals.